Things couldn't probably get any more hectic for Formula One after that insane Australian Grand Prix, right? Well, the sport is all about entertainment after Liberty Media came in, and this time there's even entertainment for us during a big break. But it's not the kind of entertainment F1, Liberty Media, or the other racing teams would want, because the Williams team is being hit with a big lawsuit by a former team sponsor. Could this be the end of one of the teams on the grid? ROKiT, a former Williams Formula One team sponsor, has filed a $149 million lawsuit against the team. The case, which claims that the Williams team denied the claim that it made fraudulent statements when it inked the agreement with the mobile phone firm ROKiT, as spurious. ROKiT argues that Williams promised a competitive car in 2019, while knowing it did not have the money to back up that guarantee. In addition to the team, the lawsuit lists as defendants former deputy team principal Claire Williams, as well as former team executives Mike O'Driscoll, who served as CEO, and Doug Lafferty, who served as CFO. As a consequence of Dorilton's acquisition, all three departed the team in the fall of 2020. Larry Klayman, a well-known lawyer who has previously been engaged in numerous high-profile legal proceedings, including several against former US Presidents Bill Clinton and Barack Obama, has started the lawsuit on behalf of parent firms ROKiT World Incorporated and ROKiT World Limited. ROKiT CEO Jonathan Kendrick struck a deal with Williams in January 2019, and his firm served as the team's headline sponsor for the whole season, and an extension agreement was triggered during that campaign. The contract was then renewed for another 2 years, and an extra agreement with the sibling ROKiT Drinks firm was also reached. ROKiT met its financial obligations in 2019, and the Williams 2020 F1 car was first presented with the ROKiT livery, but that title sponsorship was cancelled between the introduction and the first round of the season, which was postponed owing to the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic. When F1 first announced a restricted schedule, ROKiT says it offered to pay a portion of the agreed-upon costs. Nevertheless, Williams discontinued the sponsorship agreement in May, before the season began, as the team was negotiating with prospective new owners. ROKiT claimed that it had not received the contractually owed rights due to race cancellations, while Williams blamed late payment of sponsorship costs. This coincided with the team's announcement that it was undergoing a strategic review, which led to the independent, family-owned team being sold to investment company Dorilton Capital later that year. The issue over the unpaid fees for 2020 was eventually resolved in the London Court of International Arbitration, where Williams won. But now there is a new claim, which isn't about paid or unpaid money. It's about something which could be hard to prove. ROKiT's claim, made by ROKiT World Inc. and ROKiT World Limited, is for the 2019 season and is based on promises from Williams concerning its performance. According to the facts set forth in ROKiT's filing, the contract between the two was extended by 2 years by an amendment on July 10, 2019, with ROKiT, through its ROKiT Marketing Incorporated RMI arm, paying £13.5 million per year in exchange for Williams being obligated to perform under 2 contractual clauses. The paper alleges at a meeting between ROKiT founder Jonathan Kendrick and deputy team principal Williams, O'Driscoll and Lafferty that fraudulent attestations and guarantees were given to Kendrick. Specifically, this related to its 2019 FW42 F1 car, which ROKiT claims it was told would have industry-leading performance capabilities, including a Mercedes-Benz engine, and would have excellent chances to be competitive, would place in the upper side of the leaderboard, and would not be slower than the 2018 Williams F1 car. Williams finished bottom in the 2018 Constructors' Championships with 7 points, excluding the excluded Force India entity that operated until F1's summer break, and achieved just 1 point in 2019. According to the paper, Williams informed ROKiT that it had hired Paddy Lowe, the ex-technical director of Mercedes Formula One, a star in the business, and that Mr. Lowe would be able to build the F1 car to competitive levels subject to sponsorship agreements. Lowe departed Williams in early 2019, 2 years after joining the team, after a challenging winter in which the FW42 came late to testing and then proved to be slow when it did start running. According to the new court filing, the arbitrator was not aware of defendants' fraudulent concealment of material facts that were not discovered until the arbitration had concluded, and ROKiT learned that the car was never capable of performing to the standards that defendants had guaranteed to the plaintiffs, and that defendants were aware of and concealed this fact. The defendants intentionally and fraudulently disguised the fact that Williams Engineering simply did not have the money to create the F1 car, according to the complaint. The claim said that as a direct and proximate result of the fraudulent statements made by the defendants, plaintiffs have suffered significant financial loss and damage to their goodwill and business reputation, and asked for compensation of $149,528,550, or in an amount to be decided by a jury at trial. Asked about the legal action, the team told, "Williams Racing is aware of this spurious claim. Having successfully won an arbitration against ROKiT in the UK and successfully petitioning for the arbitral award to be confirmed by a federal court in the United States, Williams continues to trust in the court processes in regards to this unfortunate matter. ROKiT boss Kendrick, on the other hand, is convinced that he has a case. I don't want to do this, but we think we've been wronged," he said. Why this came about was that COVID hit and the whole 2020 season was cancelled. That's why we didn't pay them. And then the season, if you remember, was only going to be 50%, so we offered 50% in writing. And they refused, and immediately after that cancelled our hold contract and sued us for the whole amount, even though we wouldn't have anything on the car. I've got emails saying we'll pay you half, and then they cancelled it on Instagram. They didn't even tell us. Kendrick claims that Williams management assured him verbally in early 2019 that the team will have a competitive car. Before we signed it, we asked exactly those questions in front of my board, he said. What is the state of the car? And what is the state of the development? And we were told X, Y, and Z, and never ever was it true. And that's what we think we can prove, particularly when we go to court. The warrants and the commitments that were given by the board to us could never ever have been fulfilled. And they just simply were not true. If you remember, they turned up at Barcelona for 2019 testing late because they hadn't got the money to do it. Kendrick claims that he can bring on witnesses who are familiar with the team at the time. A few people have come forward that used to work for Williams and have given us some very important information, he said. He added, I really didn't want to do this. I really didn't. But because they've come after us, I've got no choice. I don't like it, but it's not fair the way it was done. ROKiT has not participated in Formula One since their split with Williams in 2020. How crazy is that? Does ROKiT have a case here? Could they really go all the way with this case and get their money back? Is there really anything to do about something that may or may not have been said about the new technical director, Paddy Lowe, at the time? And what kind of consequences could this have for a team like Williams? At the moment, it seems like a far-fetched case, as lawyer Clayman faces several challenges representing ROKiT. First, as the complaint acknowledges, an arbitrator has already reviewed the commercial dispute between ROKiT and Williams, and importantly sided with the latter. Federal courts seldom overturn arbitration rulings. ROKiT now argues that the arbitrator was ignorant of fraudulent concealment of statements of material facts, which the firm says were only discovered after the arbitration. Even if the judge, Cecilia Altanaga, agrees with ROKiT's understanding of the arbitral procedure, sponsors have no precedents for contending that pro teams provide unlawfully false guarantees of victory. Teams often overestimate their odds of winning. Commercial partners and prospects, particularly those like ROKiT who have negotiated sports agreements, should be much more mindful of such puffery. ROKiT has been accused of overstating its commercial ability itself, such as its unsuccessful attempt to establish the world's biggest Wi-Fi hotspot across 27 Indian cities. The complaint alleges that a considerable portion of the acts or omissions giving rise to the claims occurred in Florida, even though Williams is an English private limited company, and the claimants are from Delaware and Ireland. Claimant may practice law in Florida, where the Miami Grand Prix is held. Next to this, the claimants, ROKiT World Limited and ROKiT World Incorporated, are not the same companies that sponsored Williams. Those were the ROKiT subsidiary companies, ROK Marketing and ROKiT Marketing Inc., each of which filed for bankruptcy in March 2022 under the respective pseudonyms Combine Enterprises LLC and Able Events Incorporated. 4 more ROKiT affiliates filed for Chapter 7 release since 2021. ROKiT's bankruptcy counsel, Alex Marino, declined to comment on the subject. So what do you think? Will the case stand in court? Will it even reach that point? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. If it does stand, it would be a bitter pill to swallow. And who would be the one to pay for it? The old owner or the new ones? Well, Formula One at least keeps the show rolling after the insane Australian GP, this time in court. Thanks for watching today's video, and we'll see you in the next one. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you want to stay updated with all the news regarding Formula One. There's a lot more to come this season.